Welcome to the African Experience, a channel dedicated to exploring the rich history, legends, leaders, and culture of Africa. Join us as we delve into the fascinating stories of African legends and the impact they had on shaping our world as you immerse yourself in the vibrant and diverse cultures that make Africa one of the most culturally rich continents in the world. This is the African Experience. Mansa Musa was the ninth Mansa of the Mali Empire, which reached its territorial peak during his reign. Musa is known for his wealth and generosity. He has been subject to popular claims that he is the wealthiest person in history, but his actual wealth is not known with any certainty. His riches came from the mining of significant gold and salt deposits in the Mali Empire, along with the slave and ivory trade. At the time of Musa's ascension to the throne, Mali in large part consisted of the territory of the former Ghana Empire, which Mali had conquered. The Mali Empire consisted of land that is now part of Guinea, Senegal, Mauritania, the Gambia, and the modern state of Mali. Musa went on hajj to Mecca in 1324, traveling with an enormous entourage and a vast supply of gold. En route, he spent time in Cairo, where his lavish gift-giving is said to have noticeably affected the value of gold in Egypt and garnered the attention of the wider Muslim world. Musa expanded the borders of the Mali Empire, in particular incorporating the cities of Gao and Timbuktu into its territory. He sought closer ties with the rest of the Muslim world, particularly the Mamluk and Marinid sultanates. He recruited scholars from the wider Muslim world to travel to Mali, such as the Andalusian poet Abu Ishaq al-Sahili, and helped establish Timbuktu as a center of Islamic learning. His reign is associated with numerous construction projects, including part of Jingareba Mosque in Timbuktu. Musa's reign is often regarded as the zenith of Mali's power and prestige. Musa's father was named Fagale and his mother may have been named Kanku. Fagale was the son of Abu Bakr, a brother of Sanjata, the first Mansa of the Mali Empire. Ibn Battuta, who visited Mali during the reign of Musa's brother Suleiman, said that Musa's grandfather was named Serik Jota. Serik Jota may be another name for Sanjata, who was actually Musa's great-uncle. The date of Musa's birth is unknown, but he still appeared to be a young man in 1324. Musa ascended to power in the early 1300s under unclear circumstances. According to Musa's own account, his predecessor as Mansa of Mali, presumably Muhammad ibn Chu, launched 2 expeditions to explore the Atlantic Ocean, 200 ships for the first exploratory mission and 2,000 ships for the second. The Mansa led the second expedition himself, and appointed Musa as his deputy to rule the empire until he returned. When he did not return, Musa was crowned as Mansa himself, marking a transfer of the line of succession from the descendants of Sanjata to the descendants of his brother Abu Bakr. Some modern historians have cast doubt on Musa's version of events, suggesting he may have deposed his predecessor and devised the story about the voyage to explain how he took power. Nonetheless, the possibility of such a voyage has been taken seriously by several historians. Musa was a young man when he became Mansa, possibly in his early 20s. Given the grandeur of his subsequent hajj, it is likely that Musa spent much of his early reign preparing for it. Among these preparations would likely have been raids to capture and enslave people from neighboring lands, as Musa's entourage would include many thousands of enslaved people. The historian Michael Gomez estimates that Mali may have captured over 6,000 people per year for this purpose. Perhaps because of this, Musa's early reign was spent in continuous military conflict with neighboring non-Muslim societies. In 1324, while in Cairo, Musa said that he had conquered 24 cities and their surrounding districts. Musa was a Muslim, and his pilgrimage to Mecca, also known as Hajj, made him well known across northern Africa and the Middle East. To Musa, Islam was an entry into the cultured world of the Eastern Mediterranean. He would have spent much time fostering the growth of the religion within his empire. When Musa departed Mali for the Hajj, he left his son Muhammad to rule in his absence. Musa made his pilgrimage between 1324 and 1325, spanning 2,700 miles. His procession reportedly included 60,000 men, all wearing brocade and Persian silk, including 12,000 slaves, who each carried 1.8 kilograms of gold bars, and heralds dressed in silks, who bore gold staffs, organized horses, and handled bags. Musa provided all necessities for the procession, feeding the entire company of men and animals. Those animals included 80 camels, which each carried 23 to 136 kilograms of gold dust. Musa gave the gold to the poor he met along his route. Musa not only gave to the cities he passed on the way to Mecca, including Cairo and Medina, but also traded gold for souvenirs. It was reported that he built a mosque every Friday. Al-Umari, who visited Cairo shortly after Musa's pilgrimage to Mecca, noted that it was a lavish display of power, wealth, and unprecedented by its size and pageantry. Musa made a major point of showing off his nation's wealth. Musa and his entourage arrived at the outskirts of Cairo in July 1324. They camped for 3 days by the pyramids of Giza before crossing the Nile into Cairo on July 19. While in Cairo, Musa met with the Mamluk Sultan Al-Nasir Muhammad, whose reign had already seen one Mansa Sakura make the Hajj. Al-Nasir expected Musa to prostrate himself before him, which Musa initially refused to do. When he did finally bow, he said he was doing so for God alone. Despite this initial awkwardness, the two rulers got along well and exchanged gifts. Musa and his entourage gave and spent freely while in Cairo. Musa stayed in the Korofa district of Cairo and befriended its governor, Ibn Amir Hajib, who learned much about Mali from him. Musa stayed in Cairo for 3 months, departing on October 18 with the official caravan to Mecca. Musa's generosity continued as he traveled onwards to Mecca, and he gave gifts to fellow pilgrims and the people of Medina and Mecca. While in Mecca, a conflict broke out between a group of Malian pilgrims and a group of Turkic pilgrims in the Masjid al-Haram. Swords were drawn, but before the situation escalated further, Musa persuaded his men to back down. Musa and his entourage lingered in Mecca after the last day of the Hajj. Traveling separately from the main caravan, their return journey to Cairo was struck by catastrophe. By the time they reached Suez, many of the Malian pilgrims had died of cold, starvation, or bandit raids, and they had lost many of their supplies. Having run out of money, Musa and his entourage were forced to borrow money and resell much of what they had purchased while in Cairo before the Hajj, and Musa went into debt to several merchants, such as Siraj al-Din. However, Al-Nasir Muhammad returned Musa's earlier show of generosity with gifts of his own. On his return journey, Musa met the Andalusian poet Abu Ishaq al-Sahili, whose eloquence and knowledge of jurisprudence impressed him, and whom he convinced to travel with him to Mali. According to the Tariq al-Sudan, the cities of Gao and Timbuktu submitted to Musa's rule as he traveled through on his return to Mali. According to one account given by Ibn Khaldun, Musa's general Sagmanja conquered Gao. The other account claims that Gao had been conquered during the reign of Mansa Sakura. Both of these accounts may be true, as Mali's control of Gao may have been weak, requiring powerful Mansas to reassert their authority periodically. Musa embarked on a large building program, raising mosques and madrasas in Timbuktu and Gao. Most notably, the ancient center of learning Sanko Madrasa, or University of Sanko, was constructed during his reign. In Niani, Musa built the Hall of Audience, a building communicating by an interior door to the royal palace. It was an admirable monument, surmounted by a dome. The wooden window frames of an upper story were plated with silver foil, those of a lower story with gold. Like the Great Mosque, a contemporaneous and grandiose structure in Timbuktu, the hall was built of cut stone. During this period, there was an advanced level of urban living in the major centers of Mali. Sergio Domian, an Italian scholar of art and architecture, wrote of this period, thus was laid the foundation of an urban civilization. At the height of its power, Mali had at least 400 cities, and the interior of the Niger Delta was very densely populated. It is recorded that Mansa Musa traveled through the cities of Timbuktu and Gao on his way to Mecca, and made them a part of his empire when he returned around 1325. He brought architects from Andalusia, a region in Spain, and Cairo to build his grand palace in Timbuktu and the great Jingareba Mosque that still stands today. Timbuktu soon became the center of trade, culture, and Islam. Markets brought in merchants from Hausaland, Egypt, and other African kingdoms. A university was founded in the city, as well as in the Malian cities of Jen and Sigu, and Islam was spread through the markets and university, making Timbuktu a new area for Islamic scholarship. News of the Malian Empire's city of wealth even traveled across the Mediterranean to southern Europe, where traders from Venice, Granada, and Genoa soon added Timbuktu to their maps to trade manufactured goods for gold. The University of Sanko in Timbuktu was restaffed under Musa's reign with jurists, astronomers, and mathematicians. The university became a center of learning and culture, drawing Muslim scholars from around Africa and the Middle East to Timbuktu. In 1330, the kingdom of Morsi invaded and conquered the city of Timbuktu. Gao had already been captured by Musa's general, and Musa quickly regained Timbuktu, built a rampart and stone fort, and placed a standing army to protect the city from future invaders. While Musa's palace has since vanished, the university and mosque still stand in Timbuktu today. Achievements. Musa's reign is commonly regarded as Mali's golden age, but this perception may be the result of his reign being the best recorded by Arabic sources, rather than him necessarily being the wealthiest and most powerful Mansa of Mali. The territory of the Mali Empire was at its height during the reigns of Musa and his brother Suleiman, and covered the Sudan Sahel region of West Africa. Mansa Musa is renowned for his wealth and generosity. Online articles in the 21st century have claimed that Mansa Musa was the richest person of all time. This claim is often sourced to an article in Celebrity Net Worth, which claims that Musa's wealth was the equivalent of $400 billion. Celebrity Net Worth has been criticized for the unreliability of its estimates. Historians such as Hadrian Collett have argued that Musa's wealth is impossible to accurately calculate. Contemporary Arabic sources may have been trying to express that Musa had more gold than they thought possible, rather than trying to give an exact number. Furthermore, it is difficult to meaningfully compare the wealth of historical figures such as Mansa Musa, due to the difficulty of separating the personal wealth of a monarch from the wealth of the state and the difficulty of comparing wealth in highly different societies. Musa may have brought as much as 18 tons of gold on his hajj, equal in value to over $957 million in 2022. Musa himself further promoted the appearance of having vast, inexhaustible wealth by spreading rumors that gold grew like a plant in his kingdom. According to some Arabic writers, Musa's gift-giving caused a depreciation in the value of gold in Egypt. Though this has been described as having wrecked Egypt's economy, the historian Warren Schultz has argued that this was well within normal fluctuations in the value of gold in Mamluk Egypt. The wealth of the Mali Empire did not come from direct control of gold-producing regions, but rather trade and tribute. The gold Musa brought on his pilgrimage probably represented years of accumulated tribute that Musa would have spent much of his early reign gathering. Another source of income for Mali during Musa's reign was taxation of the copper trade. Arabic writers, such as Ibn Battuta and Abdullah ibn Asad al-Yafi, praised Musa's generosity, virtue, and intelligence. Ibn Khaldun said that he was an upright man and a great king, and tales of his justice are still told to this day. Thank you for tuning into the Chronicles of African History. I hope you found this episode informative and educational. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more amazing content. Remember, history is important and it is up to us to preserve it. Until next time, stay curious and keep exploring the rich and diverse history of Africa.